What if I told you that the single greatest obstacle between you and your wildest dreams isn't a lack of resources, talent, or even opportunity, but rather one simple, insidious phrase whispered in your own mind? You can't. Today, we're going to dismantle that lie, brick by brick, with the timeless wisdom of George Matthew Adams' classic, You Can. This isn't just another self-help book. It's a foundational text, a masterclass in unlocking the immense, often untapped power residing within each of us. Adams' core message, deceptively simple yet profoundly transformative, is that your ability to achieve anything you set your mind to hinges entirely on your belief in that very ability. He argues that we are all inherently equipped with an extraordinary capacity for growth, success, and inner strength. But too often, we allow self-doubt and external negativity to shackle that potential. Think about it. How many times have you stopped yourself before even trying, convinced of failure? Adams invites you to radically shift that internal dialogue, to cultivate an unwavering faith in your own capabilities. He doesn't promise a magic pill, but he does offer a clear, actionable path to overcoming limitations. Limitations that, more often than not, are self-imposed. We're talking about a mindset revolution, a fundamental recalibration of how you perceive your own power. And while it might sound abstract, Adams provides incredibly concrete examples and compelling arguments for why this shift isn't just wishful thinking, but a practical strategy for tangible results. But how exactly do we make this shift? How do we build that unshakable belief? That's what we'll dive into next as we explore the foundational principles Adams lays out for cultivating an unstoppable can-do attitude. Now, understanding your inner self is crucial, but it's only half the equation. The other, equally vital half, and what Adams dedicates significant attention to, is cultivating an unshakable will. Think of willpower not just as a nice-to-have, but as the absolute bedrock upon which all your achievements are built. Without a strong will, even the clearest vision of your potential will remain just that, a vision, never a reality. It's the engine that drives the car. But how do you build this formidable will? Adams doesn't suggest it's something you're simply born with. Instead, he argues it's a muscle that grows with consistent exercise. This means developing discipline, not through grand, overwhelming gestures, but through deliberate daily practice. It might be something as simple as committing to 5 minutes of focused work before checking your phone, or consistently waking up at the same time for a week straight. Each small victory strengthens that muscle. Here's what most people miss, though. True willpower isn't about never failing. It's about the relentless pursuit of your goals despite the inevitable setbacks. It's about picking yourself up after every stumble, dusting yourself off, and taking the next step. Imagine an athlete training for the Olympics. They don't just show up on race day. They push through pain, fatigue, and doubt, day in and day out, because they know their will ultimately shapes their destiny. Adams hammers this point home. Your consistent choices, fueled by your will, aren't just influencing your path. They are literally carving your future. You are the sculptor, and your will is the chisel. And speaking of carving out your future, that brings us to the fascinating concept of how Adams ties this strong will to the power of positive thinking, which we'll dive into next. So we've talked about the incredible power of belief, but here's where the rubber truly meets the road, transforming that belief into tangible results. George Matthew Adams masterfully explains this in what he calls the habit of success, and it's a concept that, frankly, most people completely overlook when chasing their dreams. They think success is some grand, singular event, a lightning strike of genius or luck. But Adams reveals a far more accessible and ultimately more powerful truth. Success isn't an event, it's a daily habit. Think about it. We're not talking about some massive, overwhelming undertaking every single day. Instead, it's about those small, consistent actions that, when compounded over weeks, months, and years, create an unstoppable momentum. Imagine dedicating just 15 minutes a day to learning a new skill, or consistently taking one small step towards a long-term goal. That's 105 minutes a week, over 400 minutes a month. That seemingly insignificant trickle of effort quickly becomes a powerful river. This is where the magic of positive, empowering routines comes in. If you want to achieve something significant, you need to embed the actions that lead to it into the very fabric of your day. It's about forming those tiny, almost automatic behaviors that push you forward, even when motivation wanes. Maybe it's waking up 30 minutes earlier to work on your passion project, or spending 10 minutes reflecting on your progress before bed. These aren't Herculean tasks. They're small, manageable steps that accumulate into monumental leaps. The key is consistency, because those little efforts, done repeatedly, are far more effective than sporadic bursts of grand, unsustainable action. And this consistent effort isn't just about making progress. It's also about building self-trust and proving to yourself that you can follow through. But how do we actually start building these powerful habits? That's where our next section comes in, as Adams delves into the critical role of self-discipline in making all of this a reality. We've discussed the power of belief, but there's a formidable opponent to that power, self-doubt. It's that whisper in your ear saying, "You can't," or "You're not good enough." The first step to overcoming it is to identify these negative thoughts. Don't just let them swirl around. Actively pinpoint them. Once you've caught them, challenge them. Ask yourself, is this thought truly accurate, or is it just a fear talking? Most of the time, you'll find it's the latter. This isn't about denial. It's about critical analysis of your own mental chatter. Now, here's what most people miss. They see failure as a dead end. But Adams, with his timeless wisdom, reframes it entirely. He urges us to embrace failure as a crucial part of the learning process. Think of it this way. A baby doesn't stop trying to walk after the first fall, or the 5th, or the 50th. Each tumble provides data, a lesson in balance, a slight adjustment to the approach. So instead of letting failure fuel your self-doubt, see it as a stepping stone, a necessary detour on the road to mastery. Building confidence isn't some mystical process. It's built through action. Small victories, consistently achieved, chip away at self-doubt. Start with something manageable, something you know you can accomplish. The momentum from that success, however minor, creates a ripple effect, building your belief in your ability to tackle bigger challenges. Your inner critic, that nagging voice, thrives on inaction and fear. But when you take action, when you actively pursue a goal, even a small one, you begin to silence it. It's like turning up the volume on your capabilities and turning down the volume on your anxieties. This proactive approach to self-belief leads us directly into the next critical component of Adams, philosophy, the cultivation of inner strength. So we've laid the groundwork with a powerful belief system, understanding that what we think, we become. But here's where most people stumble. Where the truly transformative power of Adams, philosophy either takes root or withers. The importance of action. Because let's be absolutely clear, belief, no matter how fervent, how deeply held, is utterly futile without corresponding action. It's like owning the most powerful car in the world, knowing exactly where you want to go, but never actually turning the key in the ignition. You'll sit there, full of potential, but ultimately static. Adams isn't just selling you a feeling, he's giving you a blueprint for construction. And construction requires building. This isn't about grand, sweeping gestures every single day. It's about taking consistent, decisive steps, however small they might seem at first. Think of it like pushing a boulder up a hill. The first few pushes are the hardest, requiring immense effort to overcome inertia. But with each subsequent push, with every ounce of applied force, something remarkable happens. Momentum builds. That boulder starts to roll more easily, gaining speed with every effort you expend. This isn't just metaphorical. It's a fundamental principle of physics and, more importantly, human progress. The results you crave, the personal growth, the inner strength, the success, these aren't magically bestowed upon you by positive thoughts alone. They are the direct, inevitable consequence of persistent, purposeful action. Adams understood that true self-belief isn't just about what you believe you can do. It's about what you do to prove that belief to yourself over and over again. And as that momentum builds, as you see tangible progress from your efforts, your belief system itself strengthens, creating a powerful feedback loop. But what kind of actions are we talking about? How do you actually translate this into your daily life? That's what we'll explore next, when we dive into the practical strategies for turning intention into reality. Now, understanding how to cultivate that inner strength is one thing, but how do we actually keep it burning, especially when the path gets a little rocky? That brings us to staying motivated and persistent, which, let's be honest, is often where most people stumble. George Matthew Adams knew this all too well, and he offers some truly timeless advice. First, you've got to fuel your drive with clear, compelling goals. Think of it like a powerful engine. It won't get far without the right kind of fuel. Your goals aren't just wishful thinking. They are the specific, measurable targets that ignite your passion and direct your energy. What exactly do you want to achieve? Write it down, make it vivid, and revisit it often. This isn't just a nice idea. Studies show that people who write down their goals are significantly more likely to achieve them. But here's what most people miss. You also need to seek inspiration from within. External motivators, like praise or rewards, are fleeting. True, lasting drive comes from a deep-seated belief in your own capabilities and a connection to your purpose. It's that quiet voice that whispers, "I can do this," even when everything else is screaming, "Give up." Adams would argue that this inner wellspring of inspiration is inexhaustible if you learn how to tap into it. Then, you must maintain an unwavering focus on your vision. In a world brimming with distractions, staying locked onto your ultimate objective is a superpower. It means saying no to things that don't serve your vision, and dedicating your mental energy to what truly matters. And finally, perhaps the most critical takeaway from Adams: persistence is the non-negotiable key to long-term success. It's not about how fast you go, but about how long you keep going. Remember that famous Edison quote about not failing 10,000 times, but finding 10,000 ways that didn't work? That's persistence in action. It's the grit that transforms setbacks into stepping stones. But what happens when, despite all this, you still hit a wall? What if those moments of doubt creep in and threaten to derail everything? Well, that's where we need to talk about overcoming obstacles and embracing a growth mindset, which is exactly what Adams tackles next. So we've explored the profound insights packed into You Can, from understanding your inner power to cultivating the right mindset for success. But all this wisdom, all these strategies, ultimately lead to one crucial realization: your journey is uniquely yours. There isn't a one-size-fits-all blueprint for greatness. And that's precisely where your incredible power lies. Embrace every step, every stumble, every triumph as part of your individual narrative. Think of it like this: if everyone followed the exact same path, the world would be a lot less interesting, wouldn't it? And here's something truly magical about embracing your own journey. By doing so, you inadvertently light the way for others. Your story, with its challenges overcome and dreams realized, becomes a beacon. Imagine the ripple effect. One person, inspired by your courage to be authentically you, then inspires another and another. This isn't just about personal achievement, it's about collective upliftment. We often hear about people changing the world, but it starts with changing their world and then sharing that transformation. What if your biggest success isn't just what you accomplish, but who you inspire along the way? So as we bring our deep dive into You Can to a close, remember this core truth: the power to unleash your full potential, to achieve everything you dream of, and to live a life of profound purpose and fulfillment isn't out there somewhere, waiting to be discovered. It's not in a secret formula or a hidden shortcut. It has always been, and will always be, within you. George Matthew Adams. Timeless wisdom isn't just a guide. It's a powerful reminder that you are the architect of your destiny. Now take these insights, apply them, and start building the extraordinary life you were meant to live. Don't just read about it. Go out and do it. For more resources and to grab your own copy of this life-changing book, check the description below. Your journey to greatness starts now. If you found this valuable, the resources and product I mentioned are linked in the description below.